Hey everybody. So in this video, I'm going to be making a spool for all this wire. This is the feedstock for the Makerbot. So a lot of people just let it sit like this and feed out of the middle. What I decided to do was I had this old roller pin around. I cut that down a little bit to make it about as wide as the spool is, and I'm thinking some kind of cardboard stopper should be sufficient, but I also have some styrene I can fit around there as well. That also helps out as being a spacer between the handle and the roller because the size that I cut the metal at. So right now the handle is kind of loose, so I got to glue that into place. And basically I just took a couple pieces of wood, cut them slightly bigger than the spool itself, and then this is just wide enough to fit inside that slot. So it sits just about perfectly and lets that roll all along. So at this point, I'm not going to do this pretty at all. I'm just going to make something that works. Glue a piece on each side. There's a piece here for the bottom. I got a little more here I can work with. Initially I'm going to glue them together, and then I got some finishing nails that hopefully, if I can get them straight in, won't crack the wood. So that's pretty much it. Let's take a look a little step down the road. Alright, so it's probably half an hour's work, maybe 40 minutes or so. Could be an hour, I don't know. But this is the basic design here. So I took the two sides. I started by doing these here. I initially drilled holes that were far too large for the nail, and I wound up going too deep. So I got a smaller bit and then did a lot of countersinking almost everywhere. I didn't really think to look for a new bit until almost the end. But this is pretty stable at this point. However, I'm going to put a crossbar going through the middle there. And I've got this piece of metal and an end of a broomstick. And the only large bit I have is a full inch, which meets with the metal, but is too large for the broomstick. So I'll use it anyway because that's what I got, and I want to test how that works. Ideally I'd want to lock it down on each side, and that would give it an overall really good stability. Let's take this apart. So this just drops in and out. The weight of the plastic keeps it in place, and I think I'm really going to need to do some large styrene circles to go on the ends here, and basically I'll just cut a circle and a slice down the middle and then drape it on and glue it later, because I think once I unfurl this here, it's really going to want to spread as far as it will be allowed to. So even a double or triple layer of that circle, at least as big as this area here, to keep it all confined. But the weight itself is pretty negligible. Seeing it rock like that isn't good. That could be that it's going over. Yeah. So that rocking is just caused by going over this tie right there. Just for an example to see how much this would spread out. That's definitely all over the place. So I'll definitely have to cut some ends here to keep this in check. I imagine a circle probably around that big would do, as long as it meets the height here. So I'm glad I didn't untie these. That was definitely a good test of how it would work. I'd like to find an end. So this is a really minimal amount of pressure that I'm using to move this around. So the printer should do it just as well. The footprint, coincidentally enough, is almost exactly as large as the Makerbot itself. It's just a little taller. Let's pull this off here. So any new spool I order, as long as it's tied off like this, it's just a matter of slapping it on there and dropping it in. I guess that would be a bail. Well, I missed on one nail. Basically they're still kind of loose, but overall it's pretty stable. So what I got to do now is probably get some like Gorilla Glue or some epoxy. I think I've got some two-part epoxy. Even right there you can see nails are starting to fall apart, and basically I'll just rim all the insides here with that, and probably the outsides too, until I run out. But that's pretty much it for the design. One thing I might do is cut off triangles here. It's definitely not too late to do that yet. But I think having the squares here with this in place is probably going to be the best bet as far as keeping this distance here. If I wanted to, actually what I should do is some kind of stopper like this maybe. I definitely couldn't do it on both ends. That definitely does hamper the plastic though. Well, actually this could work. One of the problems with this plastic is that it gets really dusty and the dust can't go into your print. So there's a few devices people print out. They put a little sponge inside a plastic clip right before the extruder. And looking at this now, basically I could get a piece of velvet or something, place it right there, and that will also help at least clean one side off and help to minimize the amount of dust getting to the plastic. So yeah, I'll just cut a piece here, and that'll be the next thing we do. Alright, so the two changes I made, I put this front brace here. I definitely split the wood, so I'm going to tape that up and glue it down with some epoxy. And I also cut the hole going across. I thought I was going to be clever by drilling one hole and then tracing a line on the other side and thinking I'd see it over here, but obviously that wasn't right. And technically I should have done it before I actually assembled it too. So the rod itself right now is a little off, but this hole, it's definitely good for a demonstrator basically. So the 1-inch pipe here is a perfect fit, so I think I can get some wood that size because the broomstick here is just too loose to act as a stabilizing force for the whole thing. But overall, for stability, it's pretty good as is. What I got to remember to do is never use this as a handle, because you can see that's already really loose. So just epoxy is pretty much it. Alright, so I did make one semi-major mistake. When this is a two-part epoxy over here, and basically I just squirted it live into all the seams and didn't mix it. So really what I should have done, of course, was to squirt all that into a big pile, mix it, and then spread it with a spatula or something. So I tried to mix it up, didn't work out so great. Then I tried to scrape it up, and of course it really didn't want to, so what's left in here, I don't know if that's ever gonna, if I'm ever gonna be able to get rid of that actually. But where I used a silicone, such as on the sides here, that worked out great. I also used that up here on the corners, and this is a fairly good seal going on here. I also did the back sides of stuff. I did make the mistake of mixing just a little of it with the epoxy, and that gave off an instant serious fume. So I got away from that, but that's something to keep in mind. But being a single thing, it cured nicely. But all this blue goo, let's try and scrape it out eventually, but we'll see how it goes. Other thing to note, if I didn't note it in the video, and here's how this looks by the way, with the cuts, is that the inner circle here, diameter, for this cable is smaller than this needs to be. So it's always going to have to be a case of pulling one of these off. But other than that, I'm definitely glad I haven't untied this, because if I had, this would definitely be a quick mess all over the place, regardless of whether these walls are in here or not. They'll definitely work out for when it's in the box, but if you take it out of the box, this could easily expand into a whole nightmare of a mess. So something like this would almost seem critical, They do sell one for like $100. I built this for free, and may not look as good, but it's got it where it counts. So I stapled a little bit of black velvet on here. Basically no other material is going to work as good, and it's real easy to shake the dust out of here. Looking at it now, what I'm realizing is that this will be good to have here on the outer layers where it's dustiest most, but as time goes by, all the inner layers will get their own dust, and of course that'll be too far out of the way. But it's good for a start. I think it's definitely a good thing. I'd rather have it there than not have it there. When I set the walls up, I set them about ½ an inch too far away to keep the roller pins tight. However, having one of the handles just a little bit loose is really useful, and I haven't decided whether I'm really going to try and attach these or not. One of them I can't, but having them loose like this, it'd be nicer if it was more fixed, but I wouldn't be able to get the spool on here if either one of them was fixed. But I could at least attach one or buffer them a little better, maybe with some cardboard. Put a couple pieces in there to stack it up, and then this wall would actually act as a lock to keep it together. Yeah, so something like that could work. I may put cardboard back in. But essentially this is it. Getting some kind of cover would definitely be good. That would help keep the dust out, but I might trim down a little. I'm definitely going to paint it. I gotta wait until any of this stuff that's in here cures, or if I can scrape it down. So I keep thinking there aren't any more videos in the series, but there'll probably be a few more. I want to finish this off today, basically. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely going to paint the whole thing, because right now it's just really rough wood, so I got to paint it and throw a sealer on it as well, just to help freeze that in place. And I'll probably even douse some corners with super glue just to help plasticize the material, especially up here where there's deep cracks like that. Sorry if the focus has been bad at all. But yeah, this is definitely working out great. It's gonna move good. This should be definitely an ideal accessory. So this is my paint box here. It's just shy of 2 feet into the room, and as you can see here, I've got a big piece of cardboard clamped up, which is hiding the box. I just gave it a basic black for initially. I want to see how that reacts to the epoxy. The silicone should be really good, but the epoxy, we'll see what happens after this. So I'm going to give it a few coats, and keeping this sealed up like this is definitely really good on keeping the fumes out of the room, because that's obviously not airtight, but it's tight enough to totally make that a vacuum chamber nearly enough, or at least good enough for these purposes. So I'm going to work on that on and off all day long. And over here I got 3 pieces of cardboard on one side. Reloading this is going to be easy.